before. Baby, now I got the flow. Cause I knew it from the start. Baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again and show you that I win. You lied to me. All those times I said that I love you. You lied to me. Yes, I tried. Yes, I tried. You lied to me. Even though you knew I'd die for you. You lied to me. Yes, I cried. Yes, I cried. Return after me. Return after me. Come on. Return after me. Oh my God. You know that I can. Here I am. Return after me. Once again. Return after me. Top of the world. Return after me. Watch my flow. You know that I can. Here I go. So I'm back up in the dance. Running things to catch my swine. Letting all the people know that I'm.
We lose Saquon, right? What's our identity going to be on offense now? Like, what's our plan to? What's the next step of that? I guess is what I'm thinking. Like, we're losing.
Yeah, well, it's never
a large part of our offense, our explosiveness, our touchdowns. Quarterback, if it's Daniel, depends on the run game.
we got to upgrade the offensive line, and you're paying the guy $40 million. It's not to hand the ball off to a $12 million back. My plan is address the offensive line at some point here in free agency. We're sitting at 6. There's a chance there's an offensive weapon there. This is the year for Daniel.
I have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia, I'll tell you that. As I've told you, just being up. I've been around enough players, so but he's the most popular player we have by far.
A big-time shift in the NFC East. Saquon Barkley goes from the Giants to the rival Eagles, gets a 3-year, $37.75 million deal, rebuilding that running back market, and more than $12 million per year.
Yeah, exactly.
Just broke.
Yeah, homegrown. What broke?
Saquon, 3 years, 37.75. Be worth up to 46.7.
So he got north of that.
26 guaranteed.
Over 13 a
Now
year.
beats the franchise tag number and has a maximum average per year salary of $15,800.
All right.
We're gonna be fine.
I think we're looking to it.
Years, $37 million. There's a notion out there that's being pushed. The Giants did not make an offer for Saquon Barkley. That is true. However, that ignores the offers that they made to Saquon Barkley over the last year. Plus, as they tried to get a deal done, that's number one. The agreement was go out there, see what the number is out there, and then bring it back to us. We'll see about potential matching and all that stuff.
The ink isn't even dry on his new deal when the Giants lose another star, safety Xavier McKinney.
This is free agency frenzy. Former Giants starting safety Xavier McKinney is expected to sign with the Green Bay Packers on a 4-year deal.
Oh my God. 17 a year, huh? I mean, 17 puts him at... That puts him up there. Mika, 18.4. I mean, that makes him the second highest paid safety in the league.
So moral of the story is I'm having a bad fucking week, and of course all I get to see and view as a Giants fan, as you can see it on my hat. Welcome to Degen Fantasy, by the way. It is July 19th, 2024, and I lost it. Double down Dan for a second, so I'm waiting for him to come back. But whatever the case may be, it's been a rough week, you know. Some things really haven't gone my way. But regardless of that, I got to see all these fucking videos of my favorite team's front office being like, why are we going to take a $40 million quarterback and have him hand off the ball to a $12 million back? You fucking stupid. Like, the amount of fucking stupidity in that front office where, okay, you already made the mistake one of signing the $40 million fucking quarterback. That's fucking terrible. That can't stay healthy. On top of that, to be able to transition to letting your best scoring touchdown player, your fucking box office player, your all-star, your leading scorer, your number one jersey seller, off the team, and not only that, to a rival because you wouldn't fork over the money because you want to use your $40 million fucking quarterback. So you got Malik Neighbors, whatever the case may be. That's not the topic of the show today. I just seen this circulating on TikTok, and I had to react to it. I wanted to hear Dan's thoughts on it, but he's struggling to get back in. What we're going to be discussing today, appreciate everybody tuning in, is going to be why you keep losing in fantasy football and in sports betting. So this is something that I have seen a lot of around me, so I thought I can touch on it. Let me make sure Dan has this link. Wanted to touch on it because I'm 25 years old and I have a lot of friends in my age demographic between the ages of like 18 to 40. And starting this show, it was originally supposed to be just something that was fantasy entailed, and then Dan brought in the sports betting side of it, and now he's back, so we're gonna be able to talk about it. Hey, is your computer charged? Are we good to go today?
Listen, cool. It's not the charging fact, it's that it's fucking broken, so I'm on my phone right now.
Oh, okay. All right, well,
I'm ready though. Let's get it.
All right, so what I was just reacting to while you weren't here.
Sorry, is your mic fucked?
No, my mic's good. What I was just reacting to while you weren't here, we introed the stream. I don't know if you've seen any of this TikToks of so there's a new like in the room style behind the scenes documentary series on the Giants and their front office and the team. Did you happen to see any of this?
Yeah, I saw the clip, and then my phone died. So
yeah, so I was just discussing because we're also kind of talking about like fails and like why people aren't winning in sports betting and fantasy football, and just to watch a major organization also fumble the bag as many Americans and other sports bettors and fantasy football GMs do themselves. Moral of the story is them saying, you know, we're not going to have a $40 million quarterback and have him hand the ball off to a $12 million back. Okay, it's not what he's here for.
My favorite part is when the owner just looks like he went to Vietnam during the war and just came back, and he's like, so we're going to – what are we going to do, though? Like, are we going to – what's the offense going to do?
Yeah, he's like – he's like, that's kind of like our jersey sales and our ticket sales and our touchdowns and our merch and our memorabilia and our all-star and our best player. I'm going to take this fucking hat off for the stream ends. It's been a mess. But so using that as an example, I'm not going to run those clips back because they were kind of long, but absolute fucking travesty. I've already had kind of a rough week, so not the hottest start. And then as soon as I start Degen, Dan's computer is like, you know what, fuck Rocky Prop. I'm just going to, take Dan onto a little black screen. Today, we're going to, real quick before I get into what we're going to do today, because, we're going to get into a nice podcast about what you guys are doing wrong and what many people do wrong and what we've done wrong in the past as well.
What you guys are doing, like, super wrong. Let me just tell you something real quick. He calls me earlier, and he's on a rampage. He's like, you know what? You know what people don't do? They don't fucking bet the right way, okay? So we're going to fucking go over how to bet the right way for the 97th fucking time on this goddamn stream. So this is what you're in for today, because you motherfuckers don't know how to bet for some goddamn reason. Still.
And this is something we haven't really like covered into this kind of detail. We've covered like topic points speaking on like, this is a good strategy here, or this is what you should be doing, or this is something you want to stay away from. But I was saying before you came in, I'm kind of in the age demographic at 25, or so I'm around like people that are 18 that are sports betting, people that are my age sports betting, people that are in their 30s and their 40s sports betting. And it's kind of just a lot to unpack. And also with fantasy football coming around, I'm also going to break into some reasons as we go, speaking on to, why also you're not winning your leagues and things that are fucking you up. And I'm kind of going to start with one that meets in the middle. You ready? By the way, top, what is it? Your right corner. We are now on Spotify as well. Now streaming. Go to Degen Fantasy, and this episode will be live on Spotify. I got to get, honestly, now that you should use your phone more because you look clear.
Yeah, I look fantastic.
You do.
Beard's looking lined up.
Did you enter through StreamYard?
Yeah.
On your phone? That's dope. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna get into this first one. I feel like Dan's also a big kind of proponent of this, at least the fantasy side, not so much the sports betting side. So I use an example of James Cook.
Yeah, Rocky. Listen, Rocky knows that I do not I don't bet on the Bills. Like I just don't bet on the fucking Bills. I can't do it. Like for some reason, well, maybe not. Probably for a good fucking reason because I watch them lose like stupid shit all the time. But when it comes to fantasy, I am a homer and I will reach for a Buffalo Bill. It happens.
So there's two sides to this coin, I will say, because one, fantasy wise and betting wise, I'm going to start with the fantasy side. Obviously, if there's players that you really like or that you really want to have, because when you get a fantasy team, odds are you're going to be watching at least Red Zone or the games. So you want to like who you're drafting. And also, there's been players that I haven't watched a lot of that I drafted that I started to enjoy watching. So the next year that came around, I'm like, I kind of want to get him again, like Lamar Jackson, for example, like Kyler Murray, like Devonta Smith. Players like that, even though I'm a Giants fan, but that bias of like, for example, I mean, it feels a little bit different this year. It's funny, we were talking about Saquon Barkley. Like, I had him one season as a Giants fan, made watching my favorite team just even a little bit more fun, which I didn't really expect can happen. Because, you know, you're already like, because usually when you're watching your favorite team, it's usually a heavy stress level. Like, you ever sit back and watch a game where your teams aren't in it and you're not betting on it, and you're like, this is kind of like, this is relaxing. This is odd. Like, I didn't know sports could be like this because either you have a bet or a fucking fantasy player on the game. You're like, fucking run. And you're stressing and all this shit. Or your team's in the playoffs and you're like, come on. And like, oh God, one day I got to show the clip of me crying and praying to a television in 2012 when the Penguins were playing the Canadians. And Dan, I've known him for that long. He's in the back room, just like ripped me apart. I was like 12 years old, whatever, crying. And cause it's that important to you. So being able to watch a game where you don't really have a horse in the race is oddly relaxing. Same token, when your team's doing good and you have a horse in the race, it feels that much better. So I understand the biased side of it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I don't think anything you said was wrong there. I think it's nice to have like a favorite player. You know what I mean? Like it's nice if you really like fucking, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan and you really like, you know, your team and you get like Amari Cooper. It's kind of fucking, it's nice because you know Amari Cooper is also on your favorite team, but he's gonna produce. You know, it's cool.
And also, everybody has that one dude in their fantasy league that is just a homer for their team. So, like, they don't care. They will send you a trade every week for their favorite player that you have. And I saw that in a little bit in the league that we have. I think your brother tried every week to get Stephon Diggs off me, even though he wasn't even doing that good. Or, or a couple different things. And he did win the league. But the reason why I'm saying that is because it comes to drafting. So like if your favorite team is like fantastic, maybe it's not as much of a problem. But if you're like said the Browns, like if you're like, oh, I just need Deshaun Watson, it's not really like something that's going to be a viable option. Or give me another team. Like if your favorite team's the Panthers, like you can stash Xavier Legette or fucking Bryce Young, but that bias is affecting you. And also in sports betting, I'm a huge hockey fan, and we talked about betting on my favorite team, the Penguins, and betting on Sidney Crosby, and like I've watched them the most, so I definitely did fairly well. But also like when you're so invested and if you're superstitious like I am, you start to kind of overthink things, which I think is also a negative from a favorite team bias. Like if I bet against my team tonight, they'll win. For example, if I bet on my team tonight, they'll lose. If I fucking love Sidney Crosby, I'm like, dude, there's no way this is going under. There's no ways. I'm taking his over. Sid over 3.5 against the best.
A couple of times this season.
And it did hit for a while. Because that's what, if it didn't hit early on, I probably would have stared off a little bit. I think the first 3 games I did it, he hit. And then after that, it was like just hit or miss. It was like basically at random. And that bias hurt me. And that bias also hurt me when I'd be building parlays because I'm like, there's one guy I'm confident in on these parlays. It's my favorite player.
And he would be the one that would fucking.
And he'd be the one to lose it. Like Sid's got it. Do you feel that?
This is why I try. I don't bet on, like, there's very few. I think there was one time last year where I bet on a Bills player during football season. It was just Gabe Davis that one time. I didn't go back to the Bills. Like I don't, dude. I really from a young age, I just don't like. I won't even bet on Notre Dame. Like I'm just not like I'm not that type of. I just can't. Like my vision's so cloudy with my favorite teams that it just doesn't even fucking matter.
And that's the one. That's the one thing too that I'd like to say is there is one caveat to that betting wise. If you have someone that has a favorite team, and you're looking at like, so say if Dan, you were a fucking Eagles fan, and I'm looking at Devonta Smith, and like I haven't really watched much, whatever the case may be. I can call you and be like, hey, what do you think of Devonta for tonight? The only reason why your input's relatively valid, aside from your personal bias that I could take with a grain of salt, is that you have watched tons of not only this player, but this team, how they're running, the health situation, all those things. So that Gabe Davis pick, for example, that was part of a fucking a list of picks we were giving out. And I thought it was so absurd. Out of all the picks, I literally circled it in red, and I put Dan's pick as like kind of a prick move, which I shouldn't have done. Lo and behold, this fucking plus 130-yard fucking pick for Gabe Davis, who doesn't get a fucking reception a game. Of course, Dan was just like, as a Bills fan, you'd be able to watch it, and he's seen Gabe Davis style games before, and he's like, this is one of those Gabe Davis games. So that's part of being a fan. So it's also a positive, but you also got to know how to reel it back, and a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is reeling it back a little bit.
Yeah, that's tough. The biggest thing, like I could tell people, just for like if we're talking reeling it back, limit your bets. I think it's very important to wake up each day and be like, listen, this is my budget for the day. I'm not going over this, and stick to it. Because the more bets you make, the more opportunity you have to lose. That's the biggest thing. You can stay up all day from fucking 8 o'clock in the morning to fucking 8 o'clock at night, right? The whole day, and just gamble and gamble and gamble. And by the end of it, you will be up like $3 or be down like 150.
Brings me to my next topic. I've seen this a lot in my circumference of people. Betting every day just to bet. Also a sign if you have a betting addiction. And I feel like sports betting, or not sports betting, but betting in general, is probably one of the worst addictions because it's the only addiction where you can win. And I could say that I do sports bet, and I have gambled at a casino from time to time, but I use it for exactly as what a profitable sports bettor or gambler would. Like, okay, a casino aside, because that's really not profitable. They're made to soak out your money. At least it's a little bit easier. You have a better chance statistically of hitting a sports bet, is that you got to look at it like an investment. Because you can do all the research and all the background work to be able to make the best hypothesis or educated guess to be able to bet on it. And what that does is it also correlates to being able to have, if you don't have the willpower to not bet in a single day, you might have a little bit of a problem starting to kick in, only because half of being successful, which I learned from Dan. Go ahead. It is. If you don't have the willpower to not place a bet every day, Keyshawn Booty style, you probably have a problem developing.
Yeah, wow. What a fucking, I mean, good Lord. Yeah, listen, I bet every day. Okay?
You've taken some days off.
Yeah, some, not many. I'll be honest with you.
You can go on streaks. That's different from betting every day, like religiously.
No, dude, I'm telling you, I bet every day religiously. I just like when I don't know anything about the sport, I reel it in like unit wise.
Okay.
I'm not like
you're more seasoned than I am.
Dude, I am literally not above like just to fucking like if I'm bored at work or some shit like that, I'm not above putting $10 on a fucking tennis match. Like I'm just not like it's. I like the act of gambling because it just it can make anything great. Like a round of golf can feel like the fucking Indy 500 because it's because you got to bet on it.
Yeah, I get that.
I just think if you don't know dick about the sport, stop being a fucking moron and bet $5 on something. Don't bet fucking $150 on fucking North Korean ping pong if you don't fucking if you don't know the goddamn sport. Like there's no reason you have to do it. Just as we speak right now, everything around soccer and NASCAR for me has a bet limit for money on what I will place on that given sport at any point in time. Like, if it's an obscure sport and I happen to be watching it or whatever the fuck, and I want to fucking put a little bet on it just to fucking juice it up a little bit, I'll take $5 or $10 and just put it down on that type of match. But if it's like something I know quite well, like international soccer, I know quite well, like NASCAR, I feel like I know quite well, I'll put upwards of, 150, $200 on something that I know. But if you don't fucking know it, like, I don't know baseball, right? But sometimes I like to put in, he's gonna hit a home run, like fucking crazy parlays like that.
Yep.
And I'll put it down for like $4 or $5, or like if there's like a little added amount, like if I have 700 in there,
Fun sized
742.
portions, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll take 20 and put it on that, and 20 on
Yeah.
something else. You know what I mean? Like if I don't know the sport, like I scale back my unit because I'm not trying to be a millionaire like every fucking day, dude. What you have to do is build the bankroll. And that's what, listen, there's a number that should be in everyone's fucking head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your bankroll. This is the number you take, like, and you always keep on hand to bet. Anything over that at the end of the week, withdraw from your account. Anything under that, you need to add back to that fucking starting fucking number. I know that sounds fucking ridiculous, but just hear me out on this. That will make you think about your bets. That will make you be like, hey, do I really need to put fucking $50 on fucking Norwegian handball right now? Do I really
What?
I'm just saying, like, do I really need
He's
to
just
put
saying.
$500 on like a sailing match between Mexico and like Guadalajara or whatever the fuck, like Guadalupe or some shit like that? No, you really don't. But if you have a fucking limit, if you have a traditional, like, hey, I'm going to take this amount of money and spend it this day. One of the smartest things about you is that's what you did. Like, you would be like, all right, I have this amount of money in here. I'm okay with losing this amount of money from this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm going to play. And you're really stringent on like, hey, this is it. Like, if I go under this, I'm done for the day and I'll come back tomorrow and regroup. Like, that's what you need to do. There's a difference between like gambling for fun and being a fuckhead and like gambling to like
Be profitable.
pay for other shit. Yeah, to be profitable. There's a difference. Like, if you just want to have a good time for entertainment, like, there's not much that can be gambling, in my opinion. Like, the rush you get from it, the dopamine fucking hit is sweet, especially when you win. Like, you hit a 14-team parlay off like a $3 bet. Like, it juices you the fuck up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm going to say, though, is like, if that's what you want it for, then do it. But if you want to be profitable, you have to play it smart. Like, you can't just fucking be throwing darts every day, all day, dude. You just can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that to segue into also. So like, if you bet every day, it's one thing. I also brought it up because people, I feel like if they don't know, that's kind of the point I was getting to. Is if they don't know the sport, they're like, I'm just gonna get some skin in the game to get some skin in the game. Like they don't watch Summer League and they're like, whoa, the fucking Spurs are plus 300. That looks good. Not watching the game, haven't seen the game, don't know who's in the lineup. I'll take that. That's kind of what I was talking about, where you're just betting just to bet. Using that topic that Dan was just speaking on and how I manage my bankroll is the number one thing that I enjoy about using the book I use when they're actually fucking, nice to me, is books that don't stop at zero. And I know even if you're as good of a sports bettor and as seasoned as a sports bettor as Dan, or if you're a newbie, give it to me straight, yes or no, that like it's probably a little bit more convenient, at least in my opinion, to be on a book that stops at zero.
What I would tell everybody is don't go beyond your means. I think there is a lot of appeal for getting a credit book where they give you money to bet with because you're not putting anything up like front. And I think it has its place. Like, I'll have a bookie and I'll have like a couple legal books that I use and shit like that, just because you can get different lines on different things. What I say to everybody is you should have a ton of betting apps, because some apps are going to have horrible fucking numbers because they don't know how to cap something. And you need to be able to take advantage of that, no matter where that is. So I try to diversify and have funds in many different. Hey, she's back. Oh my God. Kelsey, I'm so sorry. Just know it. We missed you so much.
Oh,
It sounds
Kelsey,
like one.
at the end of the last podcast we did last
You were so
week,
sad.
after the show, Dan goes, "Damn, I really got rid of our only fan." And I'm
Our
like,
only fan.
"Yeah, yeah." And
Good job.
congratulations
Hey,
on the
guys,
chip.
Congratulations, man. You guys got all bullshit aside, you guys have a homegrown team, and a lot of people.
I didn't think they were gonna win, but I wasn't also shitting on them. I just didn't think they were gonna win. That's crazy. Good.
Yeah, but anyways, back to the point. I think there's a lot of benefit to gambling on both sides, but I also understand like there is a comfort to know like if you go, you can't go under zero. Like whatever you put in there is what you have to play with, and like that works for some people, and other people it fucking doesn't. Like other people want to have more skin in the game and don't have $600 to put down on a bet and need someone to front it. So that's it. I don't want you shitting on bookies, all right?
No, I'm gonna shit on bookies real quick. Because for two reasons. No, because for two reasons. One, because this has allowed me a better range for bankroll management. Because at the same token, I'm not like, when I see I'm approaching, like, say if I were like new into an account or withdrew some money and I have this range of like, say if I have $85, I'm like, okay, this is my range. There's no like beyond extension where it's like, even if I'm down $10, fuck it. Then I'm down $10. And then this is where you start chasing, one, and two, I don't fuck with any kind of fucking debt at all. I don't like fronts. I don't like owing people money or anything. That feeling of owing people anything, I fucking hate. Even a fucking apology sucks. Okay? So correlating into that, I've seen
dumb, though.
No, I don't give a fuck. Hold on, now let me finish talking. You gotta hear my point before you call it dumb. You gotta hear my point before you call it done. It's not dumb.
It's fucking moot. I said moot. That's all I said.
Okay, all right. So one, I will also say that I've never been in debt to a sports betting account or a bookie. So that's one. Score Rocky. And then two, the reason why I say it is because you start chasing and start chasing and start chasing, and a little thing becomes a big thing. And then instead of having that, and you can earn it back, and people have, but also, what is betting designed to do? It's designed to make you lose money. So that being said, there's a certain amount of opportunities that you have to be able to be profitable, and the more reasons they give you to keep going is better for whether it's a bookie or an online book or anything. So being at zero, if I ever hit zero and I shit out, I can sit there and be like, all right, take a day. At some point, I have some chump change, throw it back in, and then slowly build up that bankroll. But unfortunately for me, my whole betting career has been put in $75 to $57 and slowly turn it into 100 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7. And then I have a bankroll that's not even my money to play with, and that's where I like. And then when I start creeping down towards 100 or whatever the case may be after a withdrawal or some losses, I start to slow down and really analyze what I'm doing, because obviously something's not working. I feel like when you're in debt to a book, you don't really have the feeling of analyzing, because you're like, I know payouts on Monday, so I'm going to just fucking hammer this in this short time frame. These are the only games I have. These are the only props I have. These are the only players that are healthy. And then you're kind of fucked. Does that not make sense?
No, it does. But if you're a good gambler, you're not chasing. Like if you're a good gambler,
not everyone's a good gambler though.
That's what's the difference is. Listen, the bookie's still got to make money, and the gambler's still got to make money. Listen, if you're not going to put up money and they're going to give you a credit line to play with, there's what the fuck? He just left. Oh my god. Anyways, but if you're not going to put up money and you're going to fucking he's back. Look at that.
Sorry. Go ahead. You're good. Keep going.
Exactly. Get chased. Yes. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to have a plan. Like, if you don't have a fucking plan, it's kind of pointless, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, even if you're with a bookie, there is a fucking advantage to not having to put up any fucking money, dude. Like,
what's the advantage though?
Because you can, like, let's say,
make money for free, technically.
Yeah, technically, yes. Like, if you're a good gambler, most of the time you're getting paid from the bookie. And like that's the difference. Like, I can have 3 really good weeks. I keep money separate, and then listen, this is only off of winnings that I'm paying out. Now, when it gets to a point to where like I'm like, oh fuck, I'm actually even, and if I have to pay him, I go negative, then I start to scale back. But again, just like anything, like this is an addiction, and it could become a fucking like serious problem. It really
Yeah, and a lot of
like,
people do
it
get that
happens all
serious
over the
problem.
place. Yeah, but also a lot of people like to have fun and don't give a fuck if they lose a couple
Yeah.
bucks here or there. And honestly, like that's what makes the world go round. I love square bettors because usually I bet the other way and it makes me feel better when I win and you guys all lose. But like you guys keep fucking gambling. The only thing we're trying to do is like teach you how to be profitable somewhat to keep you above. Like I like the fact that like overall I don't like I'm not down. I'm up. Like overall, over my lifetime of gambling, I have made more money than I've lost. I
Me as
like
well.
that fact. I'm competitive. Like love playing sports growing up. Love playing sports now. Like I will always have that competition like aspect. So when I'm fucking playing a bookie, like it really does get personal. Like I wanna put a fucking hurting on the bookie.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be weeks I'm gonna pay, but hopefully over time I'm gonna be positive on that fucking book.
So meet me in the middle, though.
No, I don't want to meet you.
No, but no, in the middle, in the middle of this, in that, okay, you are a very well-seasoned, profitable through history sports bettor. That I believe that then if we meet in the middle, that then the agreement can also be there is definite stages to this, and maybe a recommendation of ages. If you start at 18, I wouldn't recommend it. 18 to whenever the fuck, maybe under 24, 23, because I feel like you're also not like fucking fully smart enough investment wise to be able to handle it. Debt, obviously, especially when you're younger, just grows and grows and grows. It's a little bit less, you're less inclined to be smart enough to be like, all right, well, this is kind of where I just got to pay up and pull off a little bit. That as you get to a certain level and a certain win-loss percentage of sports betting, should that be more of your main book? Fair enough?
I don't know.
That's kind of how I'm feeling. I need some more milk right now, but that's kind of how I'm feeling with the books.
I think you're jaded right now because I just went through the reason why you have access to several different books. Like it's for a better line. Some books are going to have weaker fucking ability to line a fucking match, and they're not going to always want to match the other books. Also, I don't know. I just feel like it's good to diversify. The one thing that seasoned bettors will tell you is to have money in a lot of different places because you could take advantage of a lot of things. I think you're just a little jaded right now.
I'm a little upset about stuff this week, and not really about sports betting. But, I'm going to talk my shit regardless. And it's not even shit talk. It's just personally how I feel. Like if I was personally one-on-one doing consultations with someone who wanted to get into sports betting, that's kind of how I'd move them through the process. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot of, actually, I might go into fantasy one here, but I'll get back to this, is small bets with worthless payouts. Because your likelihood, like when you say like managing your bankroll, like 5 on a good odd one where it's like 5 to win 30 or 5 to win 15, I'm seeing people play 7 to win 4, this to win fucking a smaller incremented amount that is basically worthless. And also, if you fucking are not, if you're parlaying these or doing 1 or 2 legs, I don't fully understand, and I've seen these accounts grow more and more negative. I don't think it's profitable because the one thing about having multiple bets placed in while you're smiling is that if you do hit a solid sized one, then that means you can cover a lot of your investments. If you're doing a bunch of small fucking $3, $4 payouts and you're missing them and you're betting $7, $8, $9, $10 a pop, you have $10 bets in fucking 4 days, it's $100 gone.
I just think like at a certain point, betting $7 is pointless in general.
Unless it's a like decent sized parlay.
Yeah, but if it's like a lotto ticket, that's different. But like a standard unit to bet $7 to win 4, you're gonna lose.
That's terrible.
Like,
yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like anything under fucking 50, it's hard to maintain like profitability if you're not betting like 50, 60 fucking dollars at a time.
I agree.
Betting under 100, it's tough, man, to remain profitable. Like you have to keep betting a certain amount of money to even make it worth your fucking. Yeah, exactly. And when we're talking about like bets, like trying to win $4 is like, what's the fucking point? Like realistically, you're gonna get $4 of profit and then do what? Spend $11 on your next bet to lose.
That's what they do.
Like I don't even understand. But that doesn't make sense. Like if you want to be profitable, and I'm gonna tell you one thing. Like, and I know that this is the case, but like Tell me if I'm wrong here.
Okay.
When you're fucking hot and you're hitting fucking left and right, tell me it doesn't feel like you have two cocks. You know what I mean?
It does.
Like,
Yeah, it does.
Dude, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes you feel like you're packing like 12 inches of pure heat. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I feel like that every day, but
no, you don't. Calm down. Anyways, back to the point. We're both white here. Let's take it easy, all right?
hey, whoa,
Anyways,
don't bring race
we're
into.
both
Hey! I'm also Puerto Rican and Italian.
So am I, but come on, don't get crazy. Anyways,
It's resting on the floor right now, actually.
I don't want any part of this conversation. Back to the fucking point. When you're hot bets, when you're fucking raking in money, you and me both, Kelsey. When you're raking in the cash, right? It feels great. You have a lot of confidence. It's good. That's why when I'm on a hot streak, like I'm hot everywhere. Like I'm killing it everywhere. Like it's not just fucking here. It's there. It's everywhere. I love being hot. What I will not do is put $7 on a bet to win $5. Because that makes no sense. Like I don't want to buy a pack of gum. Like I want to fucking pay rent. My goal every month is to make as much as I need to like pay all my fucking.
A bet is supposed to be worth it, even though you're still risking the $7. Exactly. Risk the $7 to actually get a profit for all the other times you've risked $7. Don't risk $7 to cover your fucking whatever the fuck of a $5 bet portionally. This is why people do it, though. Do you know why people do it?
Why?
People do it because they don't do this how they're supposed to. When you told me getting into sports betting and I said, hey, Dan, I'm looking to deposit my first amount of money so I can play some bets. How much would you recommend me depositing first? Don't say anything else other than answering this question. Dan, answer the question.
What did I say for you to put in?
What would you recommend someone just starting to bet to put in as a deposit? Just answer that question and I will continue.
Probably $250.
Beautiful. Okay. Anywhere from $100 to $250. Sometimes I've gone with fucking $87, whatever the case may be. The reason why you need to do something like this is because then you're not playing with $30. When you play with a smaller budget, you're making smaller bets, you're making smaller decisions. And then at that point, it's a lot easier to lose. And when you win, you're not recouping a large portion of your investment. You're not even recouping what you were at. If you do hit one of these bets, odds are if you place 5 fucking bets that are all different small increments, even if you hit 2 of them, you're not going to recoup your fucking money. So at that point, you're just taking little amount, gone, little amount, gone. When you have this much room till you get to 0, you can make your educated guesses on bigger portions. Say it's a $30 bet. $30 bet out of a $250 budget is a solid portion size in correlation to being able to return on profit. And that's why I've seen many people not being profitable in my circle that I'm not going to name names of, but I watch them put $17 into an account. I watch them put $25 into an account. And I know one of them, much love to him, who's down thousands of dollars because they just don't know what they're doing. And this is kind of where this idea of this video kind of spawned from. In correlation to that, with fantasy football coming up, I wanted to tie in some fantasy to it too, because a lot of these things go hand in hand. But small bets, as we just concluded on, in our opinion, and in the correct opinion, is worthless. Do you concur?
Yeah, unless it's like a lotto ticket.
Yes, if it's a lotto
just
ticket.
Doing it to have a good time, and that's okay too. Like that is okay too. But
yeah, lotto tickets are it's different because your $3 payout is fucking $1,700, and that's what it's supposed to be. You're like, hey, I got some solid picks locked in, and fuck it, I got $3 here because I got 170 fucking 3 left over. I got $3. I'll just throw it on something. There's been nights where I'm on the show with you, Dan, and I'm like, hey, UFC's tonight. I got like a couple of singles left in this bitch. You want to throw something together? That one night we put together you put together. I didn't even have any input. A UFC parlay that was just fucking like 16, 12 for 13, just bing, 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 bing. Gets down to the main card. I'm out and about with my girlfriend, and he calls me. He's like, yo, Rock. I'm like, yeah, Dan, this shit's about to hit. He's like, hedge fat right now. I'm like, what? He's like, take 250, put it on this dude. I'm like, 250? He's like, yeah, because if you win, you go and get 700. If you put 250 on this dude and your guy loses on the parlay, you're going to get fucking 400. And I was like, okay. And I just fucking...
Risk-free hedge right there. Yeah,
risk-free hedge off a $3 bet, which is why You need to do this in the correct way. You need to find worth, because if you're not finding worth, there's nothing easier for a book or a casino or for whatever the case may be to take your money. You're basically playing a slot machine instead of sitting at the poker table. Would you agree?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, cool. We're going to the next topic. Holding. What does that say? Because I have the live thing in front of my thing. It says holding with a sell high player for too long. Sticking with a sell high player for too long. My bad. I can't see because it says live above where the fuck I have my thing. So this is a fantasy correlation wise. So this point is discussing into the fact of in fantasy football, you have players that can, especially in the early weeks, can overperform and do very well. And you're kind of getting too much for the bargain, but headlines come out. People are running to the waiver wire in other leagues like, yo, oh my God, I got to get this dude. I'm trying to think of a prime example of a Cy-Hell player from the last season. Maybe like, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there has been many where week 1, week 2, and week 3. I'll tell you, the first year I ever did fantasy football, it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Week 1 and week 2, he was maybe the top 3 RB or through week 3. And I also knew watching the games that he was just getting easy touchdowns. I'm like, this dude fucking sucks. He's just getting very lucky right now. So I was able to flip Clyde Edwards-Helaire and like a fucking like Christian Kirk to someone else for someone like the likes of Jalen Waddle or Garrett Wilson. And that's where you fucking come up off people that, like, you ever heard the term hype beast?
Yeah.
That's an early term, like we were living like down south next to each other, that like hype beast. The term originated because people just loved what other people loved. And I've always been the counterintuitive version of that. Like if a fucking new pair of shoes comes out that everyone's crazy about, I'm like, I don't want them. Everyone has them. But some people are like, if I want to fit in, I gotta have them. And also hype beast people, like, they get FOMO. They're fearing on missing out on, oh my God. For example, not a sell high, but like when Puka Nacua was absolutely coming out of a fucking cannon, week 1, week 2, week 3 of the NFL season, the waiver wire, everyone's like, Puka, 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 Puka. That's a good reason as well, because you want to get the good players, but also don't get caught up in the hype for unproven talent. Sometimes you'll get a Puka, sometimes you'll get a fucking Aaron Jones, where it's like, oh my God, Aaron Jones is great value, and he just fucking sits on the fucking bench holding his tampons the entire fucking time.
Oh my God.
Oh.
You could honestly tell that he had a lot to say when he called me earlier today.
Yeah.
He was like, oh man, I'm upset. He had the Connecticut accent on, but he sounded like he was from Brooklyn or something at the same time. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm glad. Hey, listen, I'm glad we could all be here for you to get this off your chest. It feels like you got a lot to say. It feels like
fuck Travis Etienne.
It feels like you had a lot to get off your chest. And you know what? Me and Kelsey, we're here for it. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, this one I'm not going to break in too much on topic with, but honestly, there's been a lot of upset Rocky streams, and I'm thinking about it. This stream, the stream where Saquon left, the stream where fucking the Jimmy Butler got hurt, and then one more, the stream where I won $1,000, and they were like, "Shoink, thank you," and they just took it out of my fucking account. Many upset Rocky streams. One of my favorite topics that I'm looking to get into, if it's here, where the fuck is it? No, where is it? You're gonna see some of these topics, guys. I guess we'll do this one because it also correlates to sports betting, and I'll let you run on it. I think there's one overlay I need to add in. But Dan, what do you think about adjusting to aging players, and like how you bet on them and their scenarios, and as they develop, their lines being like Cooper Kupp's lines last year being priced at prime Cooper Kupp lines, like value. And you're like, oh my God, like I can take the over, the under. Like, is there value there? Is there too much hype? Mostly leaning into the fantasy side with being careful, but also obviously with the underside of it, there's value in betting, but fantasy wise mainly.
There is a lot to say when it comes to older players. Like Stephon Diggs is like 32, 33 this year or something like that. I would just what I plan to do with him is just to watch and see what kind of role, especially like you'll notice, like, especially if a player that like switches teams, like you want to just kind of watch and see what kind of role he's going to have in the new offense. But when it comes to older players in general, like, unfortunately, there's a steep drop off. So you almost don't even know before it happens. Unfortunately, let's take Travis Kelce real quick. I think a lot of us last year were like, wow, this is not the same Travis Kelce we're used to. Like, yeah, lay on the couch, take a little nap. Anyways, this is not the Travis Kelce we're used to. Like, he's usually catching a bunch of touchdowns and all that other bullshit. And then in the playoffs, he turned it on because he said he was taking it back. But like, this could literally, last year could have been his last effective year. So this year, I always do a thing where like the first 3-4 weeks of a season, they're fact finding missions. That's how I treat them. Like, I'll watch every game, try to watch every game, most of all the games, and just see what we're working with. Like, hey, this guy's standing out in this offense, and then that first 3-4 weeks, that defines like my middle. And then middle, we're still looking for streaking players and shit like that, and we'll find where we're going to end with for players and shit like that. But it is important to have kind of like a list of power ratings for the players in your head or on paper. Mine's on a spreadsheet usually, and I have every player kind of power listed. The power rating listed and shit like that, and it helps me with modeling and shit like that. Okay, so I always throughout the season I'll go through and adjust it just based off of how a player's playing. That helps me just be more profitable. Even if you can't do a model or anything like that, I think it would help to like readjust to what a player is doing at that current time, honestly.
I'm going to speak on it real quick. So first off, Tom Brady's coming back out of retirement again to get another ring. So don't draft Tom Brady. No, I'm just kidding. With older players, I bring this up for two reasons. When you're talking like why people lose fantasy football and why people fail at sports betting in certain scenarios. With the adjusting to age per player, I left this open-ended in correlation to be able to say that it's not always necessarily a bad thing because you get better value, but being too heavy into an older demographic of players is a bad thing. I'm definitely going to be someone with two a little bit older, high-end players that I'm targeting this fantasy football season on my roster, but I don't want to go too heavy into it. I either want to hopefully get one of either Derrick Henry or Cooper Kupp, preferably Derrick Henry because I like his situation. But regardless of that, you can't be too heavy into it, but also don't let the age scare you because that's a little bit of value. So you got to be able to form your own judgment and not lead into the leading line of everyone's basic narrative of, one, don't draft them because they're old, because every player that's old is going to get that same narrative. So you can find value there if no one's drafting them and say Cooper Kupp you think is going to have a bounce back year. There's a value to have to it. But also not seeing, like we did a couple mock drafts this year. I'm looking at my lineup and like 2 fantasy seasons ago, it would have been the greatest team of all time. I'm like, dude, fucking Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, Derrick Henry, fucking Joe Flacco, like all these older players that like the name values there and you're like, holy shit, look at this roster. At the same token, you have to adjust because they're not the same players that they are every year.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of good points there.
What's so fucking funny, Dan?
my daughter just came up. You keep rolling. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. I got to be a...
All right. While he's being a father, I'm going to go full screen, let him do his thing. This one I'm going to get into quickly, and then I'm going to get to my favorite one. I think we should be good. This one is being lazy on playing the waiver wire or with trades. It's so easy. Most leagues you put financial money in on. So say, I'm going to put it up screen again, my bad. So say you get into a league that's $15, $20, $30, $100. If you're investing this money, you got to think about it like it's a big ass parlay. You're building this parlay, and the best part about it is you're saying, I bet all of you I will pick the best parlay. I'm betting on it. And this parlay you can adjust and change the legs of. And also, if someone has a better leg, you can take that leg. Looking at it like that. Being able to swap out things that aren't working for you is going to be a huge advantage to someone that's in your league. Got extra change. They're like, yeah, here's 150, and they just don't give a fuck. And they have people in their starting lineup that aren't fucking playing and shit like that as an easy telltale sign. Using that information to be able to just stay on top of your lineup and being able to go to the waiver wire and do your research and grab people aren't looking at, streaming defenses, streaming good kickers against good matchups. Shit like that is very important. And I saved this last one. I'm just briefing over this real quick. This is one that I want to break down into good detail with you, and then maybe watch TikTok or two and we'll end the stream. Okay?
Sounds great.
Are you good to digest this now?
I'm glad you're getting all of this off your chest right now. We're here for it, buddy. Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. This is a great time. She says Dubby is back. Guys, use promo code DGenBets for 15% off your Dubby Energy at Dubby.gg. If you guys would like to get some, please go ahead and do so. Dan, tell them what you do with some Dubby Energy.
You know, I've been doing this thing lately where I actually just mix it in warm milk and shoot it directly into my nostrils. I don't know why. I love it, though. It's fucking
That's how you really start a good work day. I actually put that on my application to get hired.
Yeah, sometimes I try to like put a little in my belly button and just let it sit just to see what happens. It's great. Every time I have a great time with Dubby.
Also, guys, make sure you guys go check out the Discord in the description and follow us on TikTok. I just had a recent video we posted hit 17,000 views, which I was very proud about. But the main topic that I want to get in on, that is the #1 average for new sports bettors. And I'm going to break down why it is not it's not a strategy and it's not profitable. What's so funny?
I just think this is the greatest episode ever.
That's fantastic. I'm trying to bring back cocaine.
So am I, buddy. So am I. Anyways, yes, keep going. I just love that you're getting all this shit off your chest today.
Okay, cool. So this last topic for why you're losing your sports betting is this, okay? Look me dead in my face. If you think going on to Prize Picks and clicking the last 5 games tab on a player and thinking, oh, this dude's hit this far in the last 5 games, it's a good bet, is a logical betting strategy, you're fucking stupid. Let me promise you one thing. These books will not provide anything to you on their services that will increase your percentage and chances of fucking winning. This is not an asset to you. Do you agree, Dan?
I kind of, a little bit. I do think there is something to be said about factoring in previous performances, especially like if this player has been ice cold or he's been hot.
And he's due.
Sometimes, yeah, exactly. So I do think this can be beneficial, but basing your entire betting strategy
that's what I'm saying.
Like statistics like this, if they've covered a number more times than not, is stupid. And like I've told Rocky from the beginning, no book is going to help you win money. They don't want you to win money. They want you to lose money. And that's their main goal. So, yeah, they're offering up stats and shit like that and showing you when it hits and when it doesn't. Dan smoked a bunch of happy pills. Anyways, back to the point. You can't just assume that, like, Prize Picks they want you to win money. They just don't. They're going to offer you information. It helps. But, hey, when they show you a player with 5 green lines in the past 5, you're like, oh, shit, this guy's on a fucking heater right now. And I guarantee you they make so much money just based off of that alone.
Yes. That is and dude, think about if you're Prize Picks, okay? If they're like, well, if they're on a 5-game fucking over streak, run that, because people are going to be like, wow, okay, cool. And maybe he goes over for a 6th game in a row. Or say if it's a player that's under every fucking game. What do you think people do when they think it's more of a gimme?
They put more money on it.
They increase their unit size. So instead of getting, a la what we were just talking about, a bunch of fucking $5 to $7 bets, if this goes in a parlay, you're a little bit more confident in that said parlay. And they also offer you shitty incentive on terrible lines to parlay people together on Prize Picks. So like, word, I got a free fucking 0.5 rushing yards for Christian McCaffrey and forbidding he fucking has a headache before the game and they somehow started him. You're going to hit that. And then you add in something like this. And then on top of it, this is where they really fuck you on parlays. Say if you find the only 3 fucking players that have all green, you're like, this is gonna hit. I promise you, this information is there to mislead slightly, and maybe it helps you every once in a while. Same thing with unders. I don't think as a strategy alone, people can just go, oh, okay. You got to do your research based on number one, feel me out on this, Dan. Number 1 information input is going to be literally the matchup. Matchup affects everything. Number 2 is use case. Is he injured? Is he going to be used at full capacity? How are they using him? Is there something that's been changed, something different? I learned that with hockey shots. I was on a fucking murderous tear. And then when someone not even on, for example, hockey, someone not even on this player that I've been betting on so frequently on their line leaves the lineup, it changes the whole dynamic of the team, because they're like, okay, so let's move this person here and move this person here. And now it's a completely different scenario, attacking style, portion, whatever the case may be. So much more input that goes into this. So maybe Jimmy Butler in this example went 2 out of 5. Looking at this, you're like, oh, he's been fairly decent, almost hit that line, kind of. I like this matchup, so I think I'm going to kind of lean more into the under, because they're good defensively, and he's gone under more than he's gone over. That's not enough input to be able to hop onto it. And like we said, that's why Kelsey's a great sports bettor, I hope, is she likes large unit sizes. Okay.
Kelsey.
That is my
podcast for that.
So to recap, before we drop in on some TikToks, to recap, if you want to be a successful sports bettor, do not use just the 5 last game statistic alone to make your bets. Betting every day just to bet isn't the most profitable. Waiting for scenarios or certain days, especially when there's 5 fucking sports going on at once, is a smart and better way to bet. Favorite player, team, and bias. Don't let it affect your money and your bankroll and your sports betting and parlays. Don't add your favorite player to every fucking parlay. Personally, my opinion, under the age of fucking 24 years old, do not get on a fucking book that lets you go under 0. And then be weary of age. That's my opinion. It's it's over. Honestly, you can you guys.
He's just doing the best he can.
Let's
give him a round of applause for the good work that he did today.
I'm giving myself a round of applause, Dan. Fuck everybody else.
Just love yourself a little bit, man.
Yeah, I love myself.
Great job.
Kelsey in the chat, appreciate you so much for love. Where will there be a test on this?
Yes.
That's a woman's favorite phrase when their husband goes on a rant. They're telling a nice story about their day, and they're like, "Will there be a test on this?" What?
Let's not assume genders here. I don't want to get in trouble.
I didn't say anything about gender. I didn't assume anyone's gender. I
don't even think you're allowed to say the word husband anymore. You need to calm down.
Husband.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, yeah, now we're done. Anyway, I'm gonna show you. I think I got a couple TikToks. Guess who managed to go the fuck off?
Bronny. Bronny finally did it.
Every time number 9 touches the ball, there is a buzz in this arena. What? Bronny's got it. 2 more.
Tee up, Bronny.
Joyner's got 8 points off the bench. Here's Bronny. Isolated against Gay. Finger roll.
Oh!
Inside the
No scoopy scoop. Let's step back. Smash. Corner 3. Splash. Don't let my boy Bronny get cooking. Anybody see the last episode of Degen Fantasy?
He was due for a good game. Good for him. He got the monkey off the back. He's fucking ripping now.
This is what he needs to continue to do.
This is what he needs to do. This is the type of game he needs to play. He needs to get inside before you get outside. Yes.
Confirmed. Confirmed.
But anyways, start inside, work your way outside. You just got to get the confidence back. You and I both know that sports are 98% fucking mental.
Yeah.
If you think you can fucking make it, you're gonna fucking make it. Like, it's just how it works.
The confidence, once it started, you can see it in his game. Once it started flowing for him, you can see him being more fluent and consistent. But I think is most funny about that, Dan? I just needed him to say what. Okay, I'm going to play a clip.
The first time this summer league, Bronny balled out tonight. Look at the lays this man was getting.
Isolated against
little jump under scoop. Oh my God, the extension in that wingspan.
Bronny looked good out there, man. Getting to the right spots and hitting his shots. And
I
he
finally
hit a 3.
As well as a television audience.
Splash.
He coming for that record, Steph.
I like that little duck. I like that little quack. I like that quack.
Thank you, Kelsey. It was great to have you back. I really appreciate it.
Kelsey, don't leave us again, man. We were so sad.
Yeah. Dan just he's a Buffalo fan, so he doesn't like the state of Massachusetts in any sport. Anyway,
I just don't like winners, because it's just I get my ass kicked all the time. So that's
yeah, but Bronny's been hooping, and honestly, I'm happy to see it. Like I said in the last podcast, I said we were talking about the Bronny James experiment and what it means for the NBA, and we thought that he could have benefited more from development. And, he's playing with a younger age demographic right now. And so, as you can see, just having that caliber of talent around him is, I'm not saying necessarily it's developing him at a rapid pace, but it's one game. No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's one game. But I'm saying that, this is something that, is in a smaller step up from where he was. It's not college to the NBA. For example, I watched Tommy Hawkes Jr. in the G League last year, and he was averaging 12, or not the G League, Summer League. He was averaging 12 points, 13 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. They put him in a couple Summer League games this season, Dan. What was he averaging? 27, 9, and 8.
Jesus.
The difference a year makes. And then to watch an NBA caliber player come in and do what he was doing a year after being there and putting up fucking 12 points is fun to watch. And that's also another reason why I shout out Cooper Flagg, why that was so fucking impressive. Legitimately. Cooper Flagg has been balling. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had a moment.
Okay. I got one more clip for you.
Okay.
And then we're going to say bye-byes, okay?
Hit me. Let's do it.
Stephen A. Smith, he's going to speak on Skip Bayless leaving Undisputed. Let's see what he got to say.
Former ESPN colleague, my friend Skip Bayless, will be leaving FS1's Undisputed at the end of the summer. Skip Bayless and I have not spoken in a long time. He's on that side of the fence. I'm on this side of the fence. But as I've stated on many occasions, as I've stated months ago to Dan Le Batard, in response to Dan Le Batard and something that he had said in terms of me wanting to destroy Skip Bayless, he ultimately retracted that statement in fairness to him. I don't root against my colleagues and contemporaries, and certainly not my friends. I just root for me to be more successful. Being on First Take and wanting to be number one doesn't mean I wanted Skip Bayless to fail. Doesn't mean that I want to see him out of the business and out of the profession. And with the news coming down,
Moral of the story, I love Stephen A., but he's a little too serious sometimes. Moral of the story, according to Ryan Glaseplovich of the New York Post, Bayless is leaving his role at Undisputed after 8 years, and his final show is set for later this summer. Shannon Sharp departed Undisputed after the 2023 NBA Finals to join who, Dan?
Stephen A.
First Take with Stephen A. So Stephen A. said, I wasn't here to, ruin his career and kick him out the fucking, the ESPN branch, but I just want to be a winner. I love Stephen A. Smith, and also I'm not really a huge fan of Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a huge fan of either one of them. I think they're.
I love Stephen A. because I like his energy and I like his takes. But I don't know. I saw this and I thought Skip Bayless got canceled for something fucked up, and then I'm looking into it and it's kind of just Shannon Sharp leaves his side and he's just kind of got no show now, and everyone like Michael Jordan of ESPN is Stephen A. Smith. Would you agree? That's their guy.
Yeah, of course.
They got rid of Rachel Nichols and all these people and Skip Bayless, but they can't lose Stephen A.
Yeah, Stephen A. does a lot of shit for them.
Yeah, and it's it's a bridge because all the athletes also respect and enjoy talking to Stephen A. So and his podcast does great. He just pulls in so much revenue, and it doesn't matter who they put around him. The only other addition to ESPN that I've thoroughly enjoyed, not just because he played football at my high school. Is it or not? No. Oh, yeah. Pat McAfee's different, though. Pat McAfee's fucking fantastic. No, yeah, but I really love Dan Orlovsky's breakdowns of quarterback play. He's extremely... I love his breakdowns. The funny thing is, I remember walking around high school and being like, so high school sports, I'm like, anybody ever come out of this school? And there's one little thing in my school and it says Dan Orlovsky. And then I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, no way. Someone from my school went to the NFL, and I look up Dan Orlovsky highlights and it's just him running through the back of the end zone. You ever seen that play?
I have, yeah. We both.
Yeah. So that's all I
Dan,
really know.
Dan's fine, but he's not great in my opinion.
Yeah, Sheldon boy. Yeah, it's a cool dynamic. So when this show gets on and going, and Dan double downs on he's on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, like a Stephen King style, because Stephen A. is probably gonna be like,
Rocky the whole time.
you're like, dude, I used to fucking sit with this.
Rocky's a bitch.
I used to do fucking this show with this kid who fucking there's an AC in the frame. It's fucking he's making these overlays all himself. Like there's no one delegating and doing it for him. Like was an absolute piece of shit. But I enjoy Stephen A. And also ESPN is in Connecticut where I am located. Even though they moved First Take out to
What the fuck is
New
happening
York?
right now?
What?
Is this a motherfucking ESPN ad right now? What's happening?
It's just I'm just talking about the news.
You're like it. I just want to shout out the fact that ESPN.
Everyone already knows about it. Dan, ESPN isn't a hidden secret. Like no one knows that we're on at the same time ESPN's on. It's not called.
Fantastic. This whole episode has been insane, and I love it.
That's all I needed to hear. Because sometimes I do an episode, and I think that you're like we at the end of the stream we end it, and then we talk in the background for a little bit, and then we leave. And I always think to myself that after the stream ends, you're like, "All right, buddy, later," and you hang up, and you're like, "This fucking sucks."
I know. Every time I have a good time, I love talking sports. But
Me too.
I feel like this whole hour and 6 minutes has just been you getting it all off your chest, and I appreciate it. I love
Honestly,
it. Personally, I haven't seen a George Costanza like rant like that in so long that this is great. Basically, you just called everybody you know a piece of shit gambler, and that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then on top of it, you're like, learn how to gamble, you fucking assholes. And then you're like, yeah, I guess we were fucking wrong about Friday too. And guess what? Fuck everybody.
Nah, because it's fucking true. Educate yourselves where you're putting your fucking money. If you were invested in the stock market, you'd look at the company you're invested in unless you want to get Wolf of Wall Streeted, okay? And in that same fucking correlation to everybody that goes on fucking TikTok, and I've put out TikTok pics, but guess what? I don't say, hey guys, here's a highlight of who you're going to bet on today. Here's the last 5 games for Christian McCaffrey. That means you should bet on it. I go, no. Hi guys, this is what I bet on today if you want to check it out. If you like it, use it. If you don't like it, fade it. So correlating to that, if you go on TikTok to get your fucking picks and you just listen to some random fuckwit highlights, you can go suck a dick. Welcome to Degen Fantasy, now on Spotify.
I want to do one thing. When we get a producer, I want to count how many times you say correlating.
I can't, dude, Dan, I don't know why. I've been saying it so much in every aspect of my life. You know what it's done? It has filled the word for me in my vocabulary. I get pulled over, the cops like, any drugs in the vehicle, sir? I'm like, correlating to the fact that there's a police officer at my window and I'm no longer driving my vehicle, I'd assume so. Oh man, that's a fucking stand-up bit. I don't know, man. Honestly, like there's been episodes where I've just from sunup to starting the show just ran around and did a bunch of dumb shit that I had to do, to the point where I got on and you're like, okay, Rock, what are we talking about? And I'm like, fucking sports and stuff. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So I've had a lot of bullshit go on this week, and God forbid I get a customer service rep from Fiverr on the phone. They're gonna have it. That's what I'm upset about. Outside of that, I feel like I've been very locked in today, and I'm happy that we had it. And because I feel like today was a set of topics that was, one, will play well to Spotify and the listener, not only audibly and on those listening platforms, but also visually on YouTube. It was a lot to discuss, so I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did as well. And yeah, I like doing more long-winded content that isn't irrelevant after a day. A lot of our sports betting content, I felt like after the games were over, was kind of hard to go back and rewatch. So I'm trying to correlate that a little bit more into how we're going to stream. But I think that's a good... I can't sit here and look at you smile at me for an hour and 9 minutes.
That's two correlating.
Did I say correlating?
We need a correlated counter on this goddamn show, and everybody's got to take a shot when he's.
I've definitely said it at least 7 times this podcast.
Dude, I'm gonna count it from now on and just report it at the end of the episode.
Let me make sure I'm even using it correctly. What is the before I leave? No, wait, hold on. What is the definition of correlating? Hold on. Correlating. Have a mutual relationship or connection in which one thing affects or depends on another.
You're not using it right at all, dude.
Yes, I have. I've been like, well, you're talking about Josh Allen and correlating to quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson.
This is great.
All right, guys.
The encounter starts next episode, guys.
Yeah. So this has been Degen Fantasy. In correlation to the stream ending, I'm going to be playing a song "Return of the Mac" because that is what we outro with, and in correlation to what we're going to be streaming this week, we will be live on Monday. It was supposed to be with a big guest. I forgot about that till right now. In correlation to me jumping off a cliff, Monday's podcast is going to have some upkeep, so I'll let you guys know what we're going to end up doing. And, yeah, much love, guys. This has been Degen Fantasy with Rocky Prop and Double Down Dan, now streaming on Spotify. Go to w.gg and use promo code DGenBets for 15% off your order of W Energy, which I'm now realizing after 2.5 months of sponsoring W, not one person has placed a purchase using our promo code. But, everyone starts somewhere, and I'm waiting for some fantasy football content people to come in here. And, yeah, much love. I'm going to stop talking in correlation to me making this podcast go too long. Goodbye, guys.
So baby, listen carefully while I sing my comeback song. Your love, she said should never